TLC pulling the plug on filming at Christine's house because it was disgusting? Did that really happen? Or did the internet just run wild with half a story? That's what everyone started wondering when a wave of behind-the-scenes leaks hit Reddit and fan pages. Viewers thought season 20 of Sister Wives was cruising along, and then out of nowhere, multiple insiders claimed production suddenly stopped shooting at Christine and Mykelti's place in Utah. According to them, it wasn't just a minor hiccup in scheduling. Crew members allegedly walked off set, calling the environment unworkable and hinting at gross conditions. Welcome back to the channel. Today's video is messy in all the ways TLC probably wishes it wasn't. This time, the drama isn't about Cody and Robin. It's centered on Christine and Mykelti, and a rumor that TLC quietly paused filming after the crew refused to keep shooting at her home. So, as usual, what's being said online only tells half the story. Grab your drink, get comfy, and let's break this all down. What the leaks actually claim, what TLC hasn't said, and why a disgusting conditions headline may be covering up something way more complicated. How the rumor even started. According to people claiming inside knowledge, including an anonymous former crew assistant, production had been filming at Christine's Utah house for several days. At first, everything was totally normal. Standard camera setups, casual kitchen shots, Mykelti dropping by with Tony and the twins for some family content. Then, on what was supposedly a short afternoon shoot, things apparently took a turn. A few crew members reportedly went to the line producer complaining about unworkable conditions. No one clarified exactly what that meant, but within hours, cameras were packed, trucks were gone, and the shoot at Christine's house was marked on hold. Instantly, fans began connecting the dots. Christine went silent on social media for 3 days, which was extremely unusual for her. Meanwhile, Mykelti and Tony also suddenly stopped doing Patreon lives and later updated subscribers that they were facing family stuff they couldn't talk about. Those gaps gave the internet everything it needed to spiral into speculation. The big question became, was TLC really so grossed out by the home? Or did something else happen that they didn't want caught on camera? Disgusting conditions versus what the crew actually walked into. Initially, disgusting conditions led everyone to believe hygiene issues, dirty house, unsafe mess, or something of that nature. Follow-up posts from individuals claiming ties to the crew, however, painted a different picture. According to them, what they found when the crew walked into setup wasn't filth, but chaos. For some, the house was visually cluttered. Food was everywhere along with boxes and remodeling mess, since changes were being done continuously. Others said it wasn't a physical problem at all, but an emotional one. The atmosphere was supposedly tense, like an argument had just happened or was about to. The tension was allegedly centered around Mykelti and Tony, who'd been staying over temporarily for filming. A neighbor told a fan page there'd been a heated discussion the night before. When the crew arrived early the next morning, the vibe was reportedly off. So when the TLC reps used the term unworkable conditions, it started some fans wondering if disgusting wasn't always taken literally, but more to describe just how toxic or volatile it felt in the house that day. Then Christine posted a smiling picture in front of the house that was captioned about fresh starts and family first, which some took to mean she was casually shutting down rumors. Others felt it was a soft attempt at damage control, a way of saying we're fine, even though something was quite clearly awry behind the scenes. Then fans noticed something else. The planned filming schedule for Christine's segments in Utah seemingly vanished from TLC's internal calendar. Mykelti's comment that low-key confirmed everything. A few days later, Mykelti and Tony popped back onto Patreon, trying to carry on like normal, smiling, answering fan questions, carrying on like nothing major had gone down. But about 20 minutes in, Mykelti dropped a tiny comment that sent fans into full detective mode. She casually said, "Yeah, TLC needed a break. They weren't comfortable filming here until everything got sorted." That one line did two big things. Confirmed that filming actually was stopped, so it wasn't just fan fiction. Made it clear that whatever happened was serious enough for TLC to pause work until it was resolved. From there, theories exploded. One rumor was that there had been a plumbing problem causing minor water damage, rendering part of the house unsafe for equipment. Another said It was all emotional. Tensions were so high production refused to film during an active family conflict. But probably the most viral theory came from a person claiming to know how TLC crews are trained. If a scene crosses emotional or ethical lines, especially around kids, they're told to stop filming immediately. Given how open Mykelti and Tony have been about the stress of parenting twins, fans couldn't help but wonder, was there some incident among the family members that TLC didn't want on camera? When a Patreon subscriber asked about it, Mykelti simply laughed and said, "Let's just say it was a misunderstanding. Nobody's in trouble." But yeah, things were tense. Her tone supposedly changed for a second, that nervous laugh people use when they're saying less than they know. Tony jumped in and changed the subject, saying the next Patreon would be Q&A only, no show talk. Too late. Reddit had already clipped it. Headlines followed. TLC crew walks out after explosive argument at Christine's house. Nothing was officially confirmed. TLC stayed completely silent. No denial, no statement, nothing. It is that silence which gave the impression to the fans that this is not just a usual delay, but the beginning of something much deeper inside the Brown family. The mother-daughter tension no one wanted to admit. People close to the family started to whisper that the incident wasn't really about house conditions. It was about Christine and Mykelti's relationship. The fans had already picked up on subtle friction for months. Missed family dinners, awkward pauses in lives, little comments about parenting and boundaries. At first, everyone wrote it off as normal mother-daughter stuff. But once filming began in Utah, a production assistant reportedly told an outlet that Christine and Mykelti had been snapping at each other during scenes. Not screaming matches, but constant irritation. Every little decision what to cook, when to roll, how to stage scenes became a tiny argument. Now, TLC loves drama. But there's a line between watchable tension and something that feels like a real emotional breakdown, and especially when there are kids around. That week, they were filming a 3 generations cooking together segment, Christine, Mykelti, and the kids. Sounds wholesome, right? But Christine was reportedly annoyed that Mykelti kept checking her phone and not following directions. Mykelti, on the other hand, felt micromanaged and overproduced. Producers stepped in and called for a break. Normally, that would mean a reset, and then back to filming. This time, though, the break just never ended. Cameras were shut down. Production didn't come back that day. Crew members would later describe the energy as hostile and uncomfortable. That's when TLC's safety protocols kicked in. Teams are told to pause if they think what's happening could be unsafe emotionally, not just physically. Inside, the situation was reportedly termed a wellness hold. But in one memo, someone used the word disorderly. Once that term leaked online, fans twisted it into disgusting conditions, and the story snowballed from there. Behind the scenes, TLC's storyline pressure. This week didn't happen in a vacuum. TLC had been repositioning the show's narrative. Cody's storyline was dying down, and Robin was hardly ever on camera, so they desperately needed new emotional hooks. Christine, sans Cody, had become a fan favorite, upbeat, independent, and relatable. So, allegedly, TLC decided to create a much bigger arc with her. Her new life in Utah, her relationship with David, her evolving relationship with the kids, especially Mykelti. But that sort of spotlight comes with strings. The show's producers reportedly wanted some classic mother-daughter tension. Christine giving the advice, Mykelti pushing back, and then a neat resolution at the end. Great for TV, not always great for real life. According to leaked messages floating around the fan pages, Mykelti felt like the show kept nudging her into a bratty or ungrateful role. She allegedly told her mom something like, "They just want us to fight. They don't care about us being happy." Christine was stuck in the middle between protecting her daughter and keeping to the contract, which came with a serious pay bump tied to the Utah storyline. Sources said producers urged Christine, during that kitchen shoot, to pose some pointed emotional questions to Mykelti about breaking old patterns. An already annoyed Mykelti snapped back. "We've talked about this, Mom. Not everything has to be filmed." That one sentence apparently set the tone for the whole day. Long silences, awkward tension, annoyed producers, Eventually, someone made the call. Stop. Later that evening, production reportedly sent out a note recommending that a full review of on-site dynamics precede resuming production. Not punishment, more like damage control. But by the time that memo filtered into fan circles and got distorted, it was the viral TLC halts filming over disgusting conditions headline. TLC's quiet PR scramble. Once the rumor caught fire, TLC's response wasn't loud, it was strategic. Instead of releasing an official statement, the network has reportedly mobilized their in-house PR team. How? Feed softer explanations to smaller gossip accounts, creative scheduling issues, weather delays, minor logistical problems. Let the blogs bring up the idea that nothing serious had happened and filming would resume soon. Basically, it means drowning out the dramatic version with a bunch of mild ones. But it didn't work. Christine was rather quiet, considering what took place. Usually, she quashes false rumors quite quickly. This time, she refrained from addressing the halt directly. Even David, who would normally be chatty on Instagram, had gone quiet himself. Meanwhile, Mykelti couldn't quite keep a lid on it. She liked comments criticizing TLC, replied to one saying it's complicated, but we'll be back soon, and slipped that TLC needed a break line on Patreon. For a network that loves control, this was chaos. That was when Christine finally posted the smiling yard photo with a caption about taking a reset and loving her space. It felt like classic PR language, vague, positive, and clearly designed to calm fans without giving real details. But by that point, it had simply gotten too large. Full-on conspiracy mode on Reddit. YouTube channels racking up millions of views dissecting each and every posting. Fan pages tracking timestamps and captions like investigators. TLC's complete silence had managed to turn one single day of halted filming into a mystery of epic proportions. Fans become detectives. The fan base did not hold back. They compared Instagram posts, Patreon lives, TikTok clips, local filming permit records, and started finding things that didn't match the conditions explanation. For example, the same day TLC allegedly shut down filming for safety, Mykelti posted a story with the twins playing happily in the backyard, joking about managing chaos. Nothing looked physically unsafe. Christine's morning coffee in the kitchen photo from that day depicted an immaculate, tidy space, completely against the idea that the house was some disgusting mess. Fans started concluding that the problem was never about cleanliness. The story shifted from gross house to emotional meltdown, or producer overreach. Some even went to local records and claimed that no new filming permits were filed in the period immediately following the halt, which was abnormal for the way TLC normally operates. By the end of the weekend, the general fan consensus was disgusting conditions, exaggerated, distorted wording. The real problem, emotional tension, boundary issues, and unwillingness to perform fake conflict on demand. What a supposed crew insider says really happened. An anonymous crew member speaking to a fan blog backed up the emotional angle. As this person describes, that day was filled with much stress for the family, especially Christine and Mykelti. Disagreements over how much of their private life should be made into content had been simmering for some time. Mykelti felt tired of staged interactions and over-directed. Christine was torn between her daughter's comfort and the demands of TLC. The insider said, "It was not a dirty house problem. It was a human problem. People were upset. The energy was off. You can't keep rolling in that environment, especially with kids there." They also explained that crews are trained to hit pause the moment things cross from emotional authenticity into genuine distress. You can't ethically film people having a real breakdown and package it as entertainment. Somewhere, an internal note apparently used language like chaotic or disorderly environment, which later got twisted into disgusting conditions and blown up by blogs hungry for clicks. Why TLC might have let the exaggeration ride? Fans started wondering if TLC had allowed the vague, disgusting framing to float around on purpose. A few popular theories. Manufactured suspense. Loaded language is used without explaining the details, building curiosity, and buzz without giving away the real emotional conflict. Drama but safe. Protecting Mykelti's image. If the real issue was over creative control, anger, or refusing direction by producers that could make her look difficult. A vague phrase about the environment shifts focus away from any one person. Timed with promotion. The break coincided with promotional posts regarding Christine's new lifestyle and family content. Some fans say PR used the positive posts to distract from behind-the-scenes problems. Either way, the phrase disgusting conditions caught fire in smaller outlets that didn't bother to fact-check. It made for a juicy headline, even if it didn't line up with what fans could literally see on Christine's and Mykelti's social media. The fallout for Christine and Mykelti. The filming pause didn't merely disrupt a schedule, it forced a reset between mother and daughter. Insiders confirmed that the same day, Christine and Mykelti had hours of private talk time. Not an explosive fight, more like a serious boundaries conversation. What are we willing to show? What is taboo? To what extent are we in control of our own story? After that, fans noted a change. Mykelti became more cautious about what she said regarding production on the lives. Christine leaned harder into positive, family-centered posts, almost like she was reclaiming the narrative on her own terms. Something about their on-screen dynamic reportedly has felt more contrived since then. Less spontaneous banter, more measured responses, more consideration to how things might be edited later. It also brought to light just how vulnerable the family is to outside pressures, contracts, producers, PR teams, and public expectations all weighing in on real relationships. What this means for the show. And remember, one day of no filming doesn't sound like much, but it's everything in TV world. Schedules get scrambled. Budgets need to be adjusted. Planned story arcs may have to be rewritten or rearranged. The producers of the show now have to decide how or if they're going to address any of this on screen. They could suggest tension, but don't explain it through subtle edits and clips. Use it to create a story about stress, boundaries, and Christine learning to juggle family and fame. Or quietly skip over the whole incident and pretend nothing happened. At the same time, TLC now knows just how closely fans watch social media. Any mismatch between what we see online and what's shown on TV will be dissected instantly. That limits how far they can spin things without losing credibility. So what really happened? Now, putting all the pieces together, here's what this situation really looks like. There is no clear evidence that Christine's home was physically dirty or unsafe. The term disgusting conditions seems to be a misunderstanding or an exaggeration of some internal language about a tense and chaotic emotional environment. The real issue seems to have been about boundaries, pressure, and a mother-daughter relationship straining under the weight of a TV contract. Filming for TLC was paused, not because of dirt, but because emotions were running too hot to keep rolling ethically, most especially when there are kids in the mix. The tenacity and detective work of fans basically forced this to stay in the spotlight and not be swept quietly under the rug. It was a huge wake-up call for Christine and Mykelti. They had to think again about how much they're willing to give to the cameras, where the line is, and how to protect their relationship in a production environment that thrives on conflict. For viewers, it's a reminder that what we see on Sister Wives is only the polished layer. Behind every simple scene, there are real people and their navigation of emotional pressure, contracts, and a viewing audience that catches everything. One day of filming stalled might be small, but in this case, it exposed much more. Cracks in the Brown family dynamics, the limits of what TLC can push, and just how powerful fan perception has become in shaping reality TV itself.